Children often marvel at adventurers like Indiana Jones, but modern-day adventuring isn't quite what it used to be. A lot of us like to look back on the times where you could make a career out of exploration. A time where everything was possible and buried treasure was just around the corner. These stories are so exciting and inflated by film that sometimes we forget that people actually lived this way. And while the movie explorers always make it out at the last minute, the same wasn't true for the real explorers of the world. Some explorers walked into a forest and never walked back out. My name is Brienne, and I'm the host and creator of Among the Dirt and Trees, a show where we explore true crime cases that occur out in nature. In today's episode, we're going to discuss the disappearance of Percy Fawcett, his son Jack, and fellow adventurer Relay Rimmel. These three men set out to discover a lost city in the Amazon in 1925, and they never made it back. But not all of the theories surrounding their disappearance are what you might expect. I am not even going to try to explain to you the amount of sheer glee that I felt when I found a case regarding an actual real-life explorer, but believe me when I say that the photos of Percy Fawcett do not disappoint. This guy was like a living storybook character. Powerful mustache, awesome UK fashion, and all. Unfortunately, he did go missing, so let's talk about that. Born in England in 1867, Percy Fawcett was born into a family that probably solidified his career path. The son of a member of the Royal Geographical Society, and with a mountain climbing occultist for a brother, he was kind of on a set path from the start. And this guy did everything. He was a mapmaker and explorer. He worked for the British Secret Service. And notably, he was also friends with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. You know, the inventor of Sherlock Holmes, who, just for the record, Percy Fawcett is aesthetically identical to. Some even believe that he inspired some of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's novels, so that's pretty awesome. Given all that, it isn't surprising that Fawcett went on all kinds of cool expeditions to Brazil and Peru and all kinds of other places. And because this guy isn't storyish enough, he might be the reason that the entire Anaconda franchise exists. Apparently, he reported seeing a giant anaconda, like over 60 feet long, which is cool, but he also claimed to have seen other mythical animals, including a giant spider, which I am very much not cool with. I saw how Aragog and his kids treated Harry and Ron, so I just do not trust that. After several incredible expeditions with interesting notes and remarkable sights, Fawcett fully committed to one of his lifelong beliefs. The idea that there was a lost city, which he referred to as Z, tucked away in the Amazon. Committed to discovering this magical and undiscovered place, and hopefully having a plan for how to interact with the locals, Fawcett and his small team went back to Brazil. To find Z, they committed to entering territory that was, at the time, considered to be completely unexplored. Now, I am not the most adventurous person, but I think that most of us would be a little weary to enter an unexplored part of the Amazon. Personally, I'm not really certain about the explored parts either. But this group was ready for adventure, and they were going to find it. They walked into the forest, but to the horror of the people they left behind, they never walked back out. So, obviously, everyone wants to know what happened there, right? Let's explore some of the theories surrounding this disappearance. The first theory is that the group, despite previously facing off against the jungle with some success, ran into some natural troubles. The theories range from drowning in rivers to being dragged up into trees by jaguars, and I have to say, my money is kind of on the jaguars. But the point is that there are countless things that can kill you in the Amazon, and at that point in time, I'm pretty sure a lot of them were still undiscovered. Unfortunately, we don't have any proof that something got them. After several searches, where an estimated 100 people died while hoping to prove their own worth as adventurers, no signs of the trio were found. Sadly enough, Fawcett actually formally requested that no one look for them if they disappear because of just how dangerous the area was. He did not want anyone to die looking for him. Moving past the obvious fact that literally every living creature in the Amazon can probably kill you, there was the theory that someone actually killed them. Some believe that it could have been rival explorers, but most people seem to think that it's more likely that they did find natives in the area and ended up being murdered by them. Again, there is no evidence of this, but it does seem very possible. I'm not sure what their plan to approach the people of this lost city was, but I have to assume that it came with some communication problems. And as much as we love the movie idea that adventurers bond with people who are in the area, that isn't always the case. Actually, they generally do a lot of damage. To the people of this area, Fawcett and his team were intruders, and I don't think that anyone could blame them if they reacted with force when 3 random dudes showed up. This theory was actually supported later when a local chief claimed that they played a role in killing the men. There wasn't any notable confirmation on this, but it certainly seems possible. Now, of course, there are the boring theories, like the idea that they died of starvation or exposure to the elements. Certainly possible, but not the most thrilling end for some awesome adventurers, right? My favorite theory, however, is that the 3 of them just went on to happily live in the jungle. By most standards, it is believed that they had the tools and knowledge to survive in the area. I don't actually know how much I believe that, and I think that even with modern technology, anyone doing what they did would be at a pretty serious risk, but it's definitely a cool idea. Maybe they ventured out and got lost, ultimately deciding to make peace with their fate and live in the jungle. As adventurers, I have to assume that this wouldn't be the worst outcome for them, and it might even have been planned. There is some speculation about Fawcett giving fake locations to friends and family, and the idea that they didn't want anyone to look for them for a reason. Seems like a pretty rude thing to do to their friends and family, but who knows, you know? once you have had a taste of adventure, maybe society just isn't enough for you anymore. If these 3 men did manage to live in the Amazon, I have to assume that something special made it possible. And this is why I love this theory so much, because it is a little bit ridiculous, right? My fellow fans of The Road to El Dorado will understand this, because this story is pretty damn close to the plot of that movie. These men went out to find a hidden city, and maybe they did. Maybe they did make a connection with the people, and maybe they decided to stay rather than hack their way back through the jungle. That is kind of the sad beauty of this case. We have absolutely no idea what happened out there. Whether they thrived or they just didn't make it. The odds were against them, but from what I've read, they were probably some of the most qualified people at the time to handle this kind of adventure. They might very well have been killed out there, but there's also the chance that they really did live out the ultimate adventure. Maybe one that never ended. So you have to tell me what you think about this one. It is certainly a wild story, and I am open to all wild theories because of that. So, if you want to discuss the fate of these explorers, the deadly things lurking in the Amazon, or how much cooler life would be if being an explorer was still an acceptable and somewhat normal job, contact me on Twitter or Instagram using the tag @datpod. Starting next week, I will be including one long episode and one regular episode, so be sure to tune in. Thanks, guys.